Welcome to the safe space where we share our knowledge and opinions so that we can grow and broaden our perspectives. Come with me on this journey of self growth and exploration of becoming who we are truly meant to be. Our stories might not be the same, but our voices and actions are what truly matter. So while we have the chance, let's talk about what's next. Hi, welcome back to What's Next Conversations with me, your host Shelby Williams. I'm glad that we are starting with episode 1. So let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. Today's episode is going to be the 19 things that I've learned in my 19 years. So I am turning 20 in August. So like I said in my episode 0, I am a Leo. So I'm entering this stage of my 20s, getting out of my teens. So I'm glad this is the year that I'm starting my podcast. Last year of my teens going into my 20s, I'll have my own podcast and my own safe space that I've kind of been wanting to create and feel that I've seen it from others. So I think we should go ahead and get started. And you can take anything that you want from this episode, whether it resonates with you or not, or if you have somebody who's experiencing the same things, or if you agree with me. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just having my laptop right here so you can know I'm looking down at that. So the first thing I have is it's good to take time and relax and have a mental day, because I feel like now I know that it's okay, especially with people on TikTok, having a mental day and showing how it is having a bad day or just going through some real stuff, because it is hard. Even with going to college, working, or just stuff in life in general, that sometimes even if you have a good life, sometimes it can really be hard and different things going on in your life. So I feel like it's good to take that day and not try to give all to whether it's work, other businesses that you might have, or just other people, because sometimes you just need to push them to the side, be like, hey, I need my mental day. I need my space. I need to do what I love, watching anime, watching romantic comedy movies, just sitting, relaxing, and being off my phone or on my phone sometimes can help. And just take the time to relax and sit back and be in my space and in my mood and do some of the things that I love, alone, and just enjoy that space. So that is number 1. So number 2 is knowing that you don't have to have everything planned out, and that's completely okay. Because sometimes I love to have things planned out, but the thing is if those plans don't work, I used to be upset and kind of be well, why didn't this work? But sometimes you might be in a certain stage in your life that you may not need that and may not be ready for that, because you might think that you're ready, but you might not be fully ready, or you might think that, oh, since somebody else is doing it, maybe I should do it now. That's them, and you have a different life, so you should really take that into consideration with trying to have everything planned out. It's good to go with the flow sometimes, have some stuff planned out, but not to be fully detailed, depending on what you're doing, whether it's school, work, having a business. Things take time, so enjoy life and let it just flow, because sometimes that's good. And you may never know, letting it flow, you never know, in a couple weeks, some months, or in the next year, it might happen. So just be patient and take the time, because you never know when it might come to your doorstep, and then that might be the time that you're ready. So that's number 2. So number 3 is live by some type of code and stick to that and believe in that. Also, sometimes sticking to a certain code may not be good depending on the situation, but what I mean by that is having some type of code of honor, or rule of life that you do, where you have maybe one or multiple ones. It can be for instance, having time with friends is okay, but don't let their life overrule your life. With just anybody. Don't let somebody insert themselves in your life to just like ruin it. Or maybe it can be, for instance, like, let me just like reference me. Like sometimes like I, don't like people who have like a bad like aura to them. Like if I don't like feel the vibes like immediately, then I kind of like know that that might not be for me. So it can be like for the environment you're in, relationships, friendships, like even like work or even school. Like if you feel like you have that gut feeling about something, you may be right or you may be wrong, but that's something that you might need to stick to. So I think that's it. Or even like if you are not feeling happy about it and motivated about it, but also that takes discipline. So if you don't feel like you can put that discipline aside and put the motivation to the side and do like the thing that you may be doing, then maybe that's not for you right now. Or maybe that's not for you at all. So that can be like a like code of honor, I guess, like that you maybe go by. So I think that's important to do. And then number four is your environment is everything, so watch who you let into it. I'm gonna say that again. Your environment is everything, so watch who you let into it. Because some people may try to get into your life just to, like, ruin it, mess it up, or they're not going into it with good intentions. Because everybody is not for you and you're not for everybody. So you really have to watch people. Like I love to watch my environment and see how people react, because some people they be reacting a certain way, like whether they're around you or not. So you have to watch how people like speak to you, or like even like you them not be they may not be thinking that you're like looking at them, like observing them and see how they, act around people. But always watch your surroundings, because you never know. And it's important to do that because, like the aura of the situation, might not be good, and you don't want nobody to interrupt and disrupt, that environment that you created. Because if that environment is messed up, sometimes like you may change who you are because other people are telling you you may need to do that, and they're just trying to get you to live a certain life, to like put you in a space of where like they know like your environment is important to you, so they like do that on purpose. Like they have some vendetta against you, or like they're jealous of you. Like, maybe this is your problem, it's not mine. So if I see you acting a certain way, like when I announce different things, like where I'm maybe moving into a different step than you are, or like I just got a job promotion, but like you're still like working like an hourly job, but I got a salary job, like stuff like that. Like even like with people who like in the influencer industry, like you might see people doing good, but then you get jealous of them and you start out like talking bad about them. Like, why are you putting so much energy into me if you don't like me? If you don't like that I'm bringing the bag in, you're not. Not to say it like that, but at the same time, it's like I don't like people who do that. Like, why? Like, I'm not about to let you put that bad vibes into my environment, when at that point, like, I just want you to leave. Like, I don't want you to be around me. Like, I don't want you to be talking rah rah about me to people, because boo, I really don't care. And you can be spreading rumors about me, like this a you problem. Like, I don't really care, because I know at the end of the day, people can believe what they want to believe. But at the end of the day, I know who I am. Like, my close friends, my family know who I am. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So you do what you want to do. You spend time on that if you want to, but it's not my problem. So go ahead and do what you want to do, boo. So I'm just gonna start counting numbers. I'm just gonna go ahead and like talk about it. So invest into your time like rather than others. So that really kind of goes into like the environment and like even like living by like a code, like that can be a code, like invest in yourself, rather than others, because a lot of times we can, put so much into any type of like relationship, like in general. Like it can be like a work relationship or, a situationship if you're in one of those, or friendships, or even like with family members and stuff like that. We always put like a full forward like effort into other people's like lives instead of us investing into ourselves, because at the end of the day nobody's gonna take care of you how you take care of you. Nobody's maybe gonna care much about like what you're doing and how you're doing for yourself rather than you. So before you put anything into anybody else, put it into yourself, because you can't be giving somebody a full 110% if you don't have the 110% in you. So that's the most important thing that I feel like this like my top 5 out of the 19 things. Like, don't put so much into others like when they're not even trying to help you or like motivate you or like be that inspirational person who wants to go on every adventure with you, celebrate you, you know share your announcements, celebrations like with the world. And if you may have that friend or like that sibling, your mom, your dad, um just anybody who truly supports you and truly like is your ride or die. Like if you have one of those, congrats to you, because those are the most important people that you can have in your space, and like beside you, because that's important. So the next one is having friends is okay, but spending time with yourself is truly where the peace is. Because I just out of high school, like I really didn't have like many friends because some like moved to college, or like that season in our lives, or maybe we were just friends, which that is perfectly okay. So I'll let you know that that is perfectly okay if like your bestie that you had for like 6 years, like rather like from elementary to middle school to high school, like going into like different stages in your lives, because that person might have been, you know, in that stage and like in that season in your life. That's okay. Sometimes like you have to realize that everybody evolves and they change, whether it's good or bad, and you just need to realize like I had fun. I learned so much, I did so much, and I really respect them and love them as the friend that they were in that season in my life. So I feel like people, everybody, and I realized that I should take that in consideration. Like those people, like they were great. Like I still like follow them on Instagram, like congratulate them. So a lot of my friends like after high school, like they had babies, like people like who like for they were a grade above me, like they had babies, they got married, and I congratulate them because I'm like even though like we may not be friends now, that doesn't mean that like, well, obviously if it ended bad, then you move on, and if you still want to support them, you go ahead and do that if you want to. Like you have like a mutual understanding. Like I don't have beef with you. I don't hate you. Like I don't, I won't disrespect you. But like that's just not like we're just not for each other anymore. So therefore, like we should just go ahead and separate and kind of move on. But spending time with yourself is important, because I like love to have like friends and like go out with friends, like like whether it's going to see different places, like I work with my friends, so like we hang out all the time, like we enjoy each other, do a little kiki ha ha at work. But at the same time, like it's good to be in your own space. Like when you get home, like whether you're out, it's good to enjoy those moments by yourself because you never know. Those friends, you might not have friends for a certain season in your life. And you need to realize that it's okay to not have friends, not um, revolve your world around having friends and like their lives because it's good. It's important to take that time, like whether it's starting your own business, like relaxing, watching TV, cooking. Like I love seeing people who like going out like in a day, like by myself, like going on a Target run, going to restaurants like by yourself, like eating in public, like whether you're like a vlogger, like vlogging by yourself, just enjoying that time, like just it being you, because sometimes it might be like that, because some people may be acting iffy, like you may not be in a relationship, you may have friends that, are still living their own lives. So like when you're alone, like you can be alone rather than having to always be with somebody because for me, it's like an issue because it may not be for you, but for me, I feel like it's an issue. You can take that or you can agree with me or not. But I'm just gonna like say my perspective on this. I feel like it's an issue when you surround everything like around having friends because like your friends may not be there. Like you may have friends for different things. So don't let that just be how you enjoy yourself, if that makes sense. So I think we'll end with that and go ahead into the next one. So self love takes time and effort to want to be better and to do better. Because let me tell you, it is a process, it is a journey to, have self love because people may be like, oh, like, why don't you love yourself more? Like, you should hype yourself up. Like, oh, like you're beautiful, like you're this and you're that, like but the thing is like you have to realize that everybody has like this like insecurity they may have about themselves. It doesn't mean that they like don't love themselves. It's just it takes time to fully be in that mode. Like no, it just takes a minute to fully be in that space of having full self love about yourself and enjoying yourself and want to grow and do better and be better and be about that. Be about that life or be about that journey, be about that situation. Be about celebrating yourself and saying and look in the mirror, say, I look good. Like, okay, like I see like your eyes sparkling, like your outfit looks good. Like, oh, like my makeup is bomb because I feel like that bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm that girl and ain't nobody gonna tell me different. Like, people may say that that's cocky, but no. But they're just having self love and self confidence. Obviously, those are two different things, but they kind of correlate with each other. Having self love, self confidence, like, look in the mirror, like, stay with me. Like, I look good. I'm that bit. And ain't nobody can tell me nothing. You know? Like, what is, what's up? Every black girl needs a little thug. Every black boy needs a little love. If you put it down, I'ma pick it up. Yeah, go ahead. And say it again. Say it again in the mirror. Or whether you're on your phone, like, pull your camera up. Pull your camera up, girl. Or whoever. Put your camera up and say it. Say it, okay? Say it. Let's get back to that. No, but for real, don't like disregard what I said. Put your phone up, go to the mirror. Like if you're in a restaurant, go to the mirror in the bathroom, say it and do it. Okay? Anyways, let's get to the next one. So doing what other people may do may not work for you. So don't be mad if somebody may give you advice about something and you try to do it, but baby, like you're like, oh, like no, like that does not work for my lifestyle or like who I want to become or who I am right now trying to become that person. So like you might be like in a whole different stage and area in your life than somebody that's giving that advice. Like I may be in a different stage than like the advice that I'm giving, like my perspective and my opinion that I'm giving, but like you still have that. So like you can take it, use it, do whatever you want with it. So that's kind of like the safe space that we're giving, or that I want it to become. So like everybody's opinion, everybody's life may be truly different than yours. So don't take it to heart. Don't take it to heart. It's okay. It's okay. We can get through it. We're gonna do what we gotta do to have that advice and manifest that to be something that we do down the road. Because it may not be for us right now, but we gonna make it work. We gonna make do what it do, and make sure that down the road that that's something that we truly like move to, and have that motivation and discipline. Do whatever you got to do, manifest, journal it, write it down, speak it to people, and be like, this is what I want to do. Like if you would have somebody like as a business partner, or doing anything that pertains to you growing for yourself, like do what you got to do, because you can give people advice and stuff, but everything might not work for somebody, so you kind of have to take that into full force and kind of like know your audience. Like, try to give them advice that, may work for them. But just realize that other people's like lives and what they do may not work for you. So don't take it to heart, and it's okay. And I've definitely learned that, because what other people are doing may not work for me, may not work for who I am, what I believe in, or, the things that I've been through. Um, may change, or like my background may change. So it really depends. So don't don't take everybody's advice. Oh my gosh, let me say it again. Don't take everybody's advice, because girl, listen. Don't take everybody's advice, because some people may have like a malicious intent, or some people can have like a genuine intent, like what the advice that they're giving you, but that doesn't mean that they're giving good advice. Let me say it again. Just because they might have a good intent or a bad intent, and sometimes you can really notice when people have like a malicious intent, or people who have that genuine like aura about them. But don't take advice from everybody, because you know it just that's all I gotta say on that, to be honest. Don't take advice from everybody, and what other people are doing may not work for you. So I'll let that sink in, stick in. Go ahead. But let's go ahead and get into the next one. So there is nothing wrong with being selfish, and it's okay to prioritize yourself and only take into consideration of what you want. Let me say it again. I'm sorry. Let me say it again, that there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Because I was like, ooh, like I shouldn't be selfish, because like that's not the type of person that I am. But sometimes, girl, like sometimes you gotta be selfish, like, because I just feel as though that some people, I just don't like vibe with people sometimes, and that's the thing wrong, like with them or with me, is just that I gotta be selfish. I gotta be like, okay, well, I kind of like don't want that right now. So if you like, it's nothing wrong with you. Like, I just don't feel like you're for me. Like, it can be for anything. Like being selfish on, taking a trip by yourself, only wanting to spend your money on yourself, or, not wanting to go out all the time, and like just living your own space in your own life. Like, it's okay to be selfish. Like, you don't have to always take into consideration of what other people want, because if they don't take any consideration of what you want, and like when you do the same for them, like at that point, just be selfish. Be like, okay, well then I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and You stand over there, you do what you gotta do, okay? Because at the end of the day, you're not about to interrupt my environment and make me feel like I'm being selfish and I'm not caring about you when I've been caring about you for a minute. And well, not exactly for a minute, but like for a hot minute or like for my entire life. But that one time that I'm selfish, like, oh, like you're ungrateful, you're like this and that, but like, okay, like it's okay for me to be selfish and only do what I want to do, and like go travel, go do what you want to do. Like if other people are not being supportive of that, like be selfish. Sometimes you gotta cut people off. Like I didn't understand that, but sometimes you gotta cut people off. Like whether it's especially if it's like your family, sometimes you gotta cut the toxicity out of your life. And I have seen it like a good amount of times. Like it can be like in any household, but especially like I've been hearing like a lot of the Latino community, like the Asian community, even like in the Black communities. Like it's okay to be selfish. Like don't let them put you down or don't let them demeanor like how you're feeling, because how you're feeling is important. I mean, but they're like, oh, like why are you talking back? Like, oh, like you don't have real problems, or like, oh, you don't need to go to therapy. Like, just because you grew up in a certain era and you may not see how I'm feeling and like what I believe I need to do, and at that point, and if it's been going on for a long time to where it's interrupting your space and your environment, at that point, if you feel like you need to cut them off, like if it's forever, then it's forever. But if it's for a couple weeks, couple months, until you feel like you can let them enter your space again, because your space is priority. If they're letting their toxic energy come into that environment and that space, then it's time to push them out of that space for as long as you can, and then let them come back in and be like, hey, look, I don't appreciate this and that. So if you can't get it together, if you can't change, or just keep your opinions to yourself, like I don't want you in my environment. So if you can respect my boundaries and respect my rules of the way I want to live and the life that I have, and whether it's like even grandparents like with their grandchildren, or like significant others, friends, like set that boundary and stick to it, because people may not accept that boundary, be like, oh, like you're just being selfish. Like, no, no, I'm gonna be selfish, it's okay. If you don't like it, then you're out of my space and my environment, whether it's for right now or for good. So just let them know you had that choice, had that decision to make, and you chose to choose what you want to do instead of respect me and my boundaries, then it's okay. Like, it's not my problem. It seems like a personal problem to me. So at that point, I don't really care. It may sound bad, but I don't care. Like, you can hear my voice. I say it again. I do not care. It seems like a personal problem to me. So you go deal with that over there, and I keep it moving, get my bag, do whatever I gotta do. Okay? Anyways, another one is living outside of your means is not going to get you the life that you want. Let me say it again. Because us girlies, going to Target every time, shopping on Amazon, getting clothes, being on the gate. Well, yeah, the gate be having some fines. But stop living outside of your means. Like if you know that at this point, like you're living a paycheck to paycheck because you're shopping so much, and you have, okay, some of us have a shopping addiction. If you know you have a shopping addiction, like download an app, download whatever something, go to Etsy, do what you gotta do to get a budget. Get a budget, see what your expenses are, and have a certain budget each month that you have, like each week, like however you get paid, have that set aside, and that money you use for that. But out of that, you don't touch nothing. You don't take out of your savings. You don't try to do none of that. Like, stick to what you can afford and what life that you have right now. Like, you may want to start a business, be an entrepreneur, be self-employed, but right now you're living over your means, and you wondering where all that money going. It's because you don't know how to manage it. And I feel like a lot of us, like with anybody who's been in school, like they don't teach you how to, save money, make sure you're investing in yourself, because they want us to go work for these like big companies and all this and that. But like that pay is not like getting me the life that I want to. And if I'm getting under that pay, I'm thinking like, oh, like I can still live that life, like I'm living above my means, and that's okay. Like it's like next, I'll just wait until next paycheck comes and then say, but you still end up spending that money that you're supposed to be saving. So living above your means is not good for you. Well, and I'm saying that to myself and whoever needs to hear that, because it's not really good. So the other thing to add to that is like it counteracts with that, but saving money is okay and it's important. It's important. It's okay, but it's important. It's important because you need to live life and enjoy life. Like, spend, like, go get your nails done, go get your toes done, like, go, like, on a vacation, like, spend money on, like, your birthday, like, go out for Christmas, like, do whatever, like, you want to do, like, with your money, like, whether you buy jewelry, because I love to buy jewelry, and, like, invest in that, buy cases, stuff on Amazon, the regular, but saving money is important because saving money is like going to get you your first apartment, get you your first car, but also you'll get to that eventually, but you never know what's gonna happen next, or like when that moment's gonna be your last, and you might regret not getting that your first like luxury bag or like luxury item or whatever. But baby, go to the gate. If you don't know where the gate is, just go to the gate. Like look on TikTok, especially TikTok. On TikTok, the internet, whatever. Look up the gate, and you can be living under your means with that. But to add on that, like I did hear, on TikTok recently that living, act like you don't have any money. Like you may make like 80K like a year, or make like $15 an hour, or 19, like whatever you're making. Like live under your means. Like live like you're living paycheck to paycheck and have bills to pay, a car payment to pay. Even if you don't have those things, live under your means, because it will help you save money and not let you think that you have all this money to spend when you do what you want with your money. Do that. But if you live under your means, it gives you a different perspective and gives you a different side. And it kind of helps you save money, invest in yourself, and let all that money go somewhere else rather than going to other people. Like it's like you're enjoying yourself and it's going to you, but that money's going to somebody else. Rather than you saving up, like you said you want to move out, boo. So go ahead and live under your means. Act like you ain't got no money, like you're making like 30K a year. Like if you're making like 80 or 50, whatever. Really, if you're doing 50, like act like you're living like what 20K, 20K a year. So go ahead and do that and take charge and take time to invest and do what you got to do. So the other thing is being in the moment is essential, and spending time with friends and family should not be taken for granted, because I feel like a lot of times I do take spending time with family for granted because I'm just so like in like the space of I love being in the space of me, like just being alone. Like I'll go eat dinner, come back upstairs after I eat, like see if they need anything, then come back upstairs, like and spend the rest of that time, by myself, because you never know, like when like that last moment can be for you or your family. So don't say anything or do anything that you're gonna regret, and if that time comes, you're going to regret that you said something or did something that you know that you shouldn't have did, and you were going to regret it, because that is such a burden that can be put on you, you not being in a good space with that person, or having like a mutual agreement, and like that be resting on their soul or your soul. And it's not good to have beef and squabble with family or friends, like loved ones, whoever. Like don't take that for granted, because you never know when their moment might come to an end, or yours. So you don't want that to be like on your soul, on your spirit. So don't take family or friends for granted. Spend that time with them, whether you feel like it or not. Obviously, don't force yourself, but spend that time with family, because it is important. So another thing is, buying things to solve your problems. It's not gonna help, or to lessen your stress, because you'll be like, oh, like like I'm not really having a good day and it's been a week, so I kind of like want to get something that's gonna make me happy. No, not gonna make you happy when you check the bank account and be like, oh, no, I shouldn't have got that, because now I'm better. So I got that in the moment because I wasn't feeling good, but now I'm better. And now you may need it or you may not need it, but don't do that. It's okay. Like do something else. Like don't go on Amazon. Don't be late night browsing. Don't be going to Target, going in for one thing and then coming out with the next thing. They can return. It's okay. It's okay, girl. Go ahead and return it. Go ahead and return it. We don't need it. If you need it, get it later. Go ahead and return it. Bring it. Keep that receipt. Keep the receipt. Go ahead and return it. I'm telling you again. Keep the receipt and go return it. Okay. Thank you. And to move on to the next thing, I have a lot to go. So if you're still here, hello. Thank you. And if you're not, thank you for listening. But to go get ahead on the next thing, be glad of what you have, because other people may not have it. Like you may, like for example, like you may have a good support system, or like you have like no debt, or good financial like freedom. Like your parents might like be making so much money that you don't have to worry about things, and you get a brand new car, get like luxury items, and you take that for granted, because like I have friends that have come like from different backgrounds, like they just like live a different life than I have, like because my parents at the beginning, like when they had like when they got married, like they didn't have anything, and now like they wanted the kids to have a good like life, and like live a certain life that they didn't have. So they wanted that for us, and they have did that for us. And I'm glad that I had parents who wanted to do better for me, or are that support system. And I got like a brand new car for graduation. I've gotten like great birthday gifts. And it's not to say that I didn't earn that, because I've earned it like with good grades, being a good daughter, doing what I had to do, because that's the type of person that I am. And I never took anything for granted, because I know where they came from, and that other people are not living the same life as I have. So I don't need to take that for granted, and I need to be very appreciative of what I have, because I've been very humbled of the conversations that I have, like with my friends. Like we talk about like relationships, like the relationships like with their parents, like friendships that they've had, or the day-to-day lives that they live, like whether it's, you know, I might like they might be saving, I might be, spending like I ain't got no rent to pay, which I don't have rent to pay. But like spending like so much money and like they're saving because they know that like they have to pay for college or they have to do certain things that I might not have to do because I am in a good situation to like where my parents are providing that and helping me do that. Or they make a good income to like where I can be able to afford different things. But I do have a job now, so like I'm able to, afford, what I want to do, like things that I want to buy. So for that, I don't take for granted, but sometimes I do realize I need to step back and be like, okay, so let me slow down. Let me realize that at any moment and any time, like I can be in a different situation to where I am now, or I can have that become something completely different than what wanted it to be, or like from like I can be in the same parent, the same. I can be like in the same position like my parents were in, like when they first started to get together. So I need to take that into account. And I think the other thing is just because you may see something a certain way doesn't mean you shouldn't hear other people's perspectives and people's sides. Just like I was saying, like don't take things for granted, and people are not living the same life that you might have. So hear other people's sides and perspectives, because having a closed mind sometimes can not, keep food on the table for you, or it may not, like it may put you in a situation to where you wouldn't have been in if you didn't hear somebody else's side and like what they've been through, because you never know, you might be in the same situation that that person was in and you didn't take their advice and you didn't hear their side to it, and now you're stuck in that because you was hard-headed and didn't want to listen. Even if they were saying it in a different tone than what they should have, be like, hey, like, can you like explain this to me in a different way? Because I feel like you're kind of like telling me what to do instead of like being like educating and wanting me to feel like I should listen to you. And then I feel like you're yelling at me or arguing with me, and like you don't feel like I have like a different perspective or different side. So that's something important to do. And it's okay to not be okay, and holding things in is not good for your conscience. Because sometimes we can hold a lot of things in and it's not really good for like our mind and for our body, and sometimes it can exhaust us and it can let all of what we've been holding in like just burst out, whether we do something in that situation, or whether we lash out on other people because we've been holding something in. It's not good to hold it in. Do anything that you feel like you need to do, like whether you create a podcast and have that space to where you talk about different things. Get a journal to write different things down like that you've been feeling, that's been on your mind, on your heart, or just talk to somebody. Like go into therapy, talk to somebody, do anything that will not let you hold that in. If that makes sense. So the next thing is, don't be stuck in a mindset and be like, oh, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Especially when it comes to like your parents, and I'm speaking from experience. So listen to your parents or anybody who knows you, or even like who don't knows you, or even somebody who doesn't know you. Take their advice, whether you're going to use it or not. Like, let me say it again. Take their advice, whether you're going to use it or not, because it's important. Like, either way, like, you use it or not, because, like, that advice can go to waste. Like I said earlier, you might be put into that situation and you didn't use that advice. But if you did take that advice, be like, okay, I take that advice, even though I might be not be in a situation, that they're in right now. But in the line, down the road, you might be put into that situation. So now you remember, like, oh, like so and so told me this. So now I know what to do and know how to get me out of this situation. So always remember that. Okay. The next one is your actions are a reflection of who you are. So watch what you do because you never know who is watching. I feel like you shouldn't, let that, you know, you shouldn't let that stop you from being who you are. But always remember, like, you may be like in a sucky mood or you may be having like a bad day, but always realize that you never know who you're talking to, because that might be like, like a future business partner, that might be like a teacher of yours, or that might be somebody who may become a judge and be in a court deciding on something that you've experienced in life. Or it could be like your future employer, or somebody who's being switched over into the company, somebody who could be above you, somebody who could be under you. You never know what position somebody is in or what connections that they have. Because you would be surprised how sometimes in small cities and small, places and spaces, somebody might know somebody, and if they find out that, you were just like rude to them, or you were giving like an attitude, or just something that didn't hit them right, you never know. So don't do something that you might regret, that your future employer might see that you've done, or like heard that you've done, and now like you're in a jam because you were acting like nobody's watching, when most of the time somebody is watching. So take that into thought. Okay, always take something from each and every situation, whether you resonated with it or not. And that goes into, don't be stuck in what you want to do. Like, your actions are a reflection of who you are. And, don't take for granted anything. So take anything and everything you can. Like, learn anything, because knowledge is key in the world that we live in. And experience is also key, because that knowledge can help you experience different things in life, like get you into different positions, because you never know. So learn each and everything that you can from each situation, whether you experienced it or not, or whether you're going through it or not. Like, just take the advice, leave it to keep it, but keep it in mind. Keep it in your back pocket. So if you need to, maybe take off those jeans, so like take off, because you may have to put on a different pair of jeans, so you can take that out of that pair of jeans and put it into your new pair of jeans, because that resonate with you into taking the old jeans off and throwing those away and putting on a new pair of jeans. If that makes any type of sense. But what I mean is, like, you're entering a new stage in your life, so those jeans don't fit anymore. So now you have to get a new size in jeans and enter a new stage in your life, and the information that you had, it stacks up, and once you take that out and throw it away, like, you experience what you experience. So always have the slip of paper in the back of your pocket, because you never know. So the other thing that I have is, stop buying things that you want when you can eventually buy them later. And recently I have been experiencing that, and I've realized that if I've gone without it for a long time, like, I don't need it anymore. Or if I still want it, I don't need it now, because I've been living without it for a long time. So if that resonates with you, then it does. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, like, I may have one in like recently, like maybe like a month ago, I got like some black and white dunks, but I've been wanting them for like almost like a year and a half. Like, when they came out, like, I've seen like a lot of people have them. I'm like, okay, that would literally go with everything. But that was before like I had a job and like I could buy like my own dunks, like my own shoes, like shoes are like, obviously you know how much dunks cost. If you do, you don't, like, it's like around like maybe like it depends on where you get it now. Like it can be like 200, like 150, 175, like 200, 250, maybe sometimes 300, but I didn't spend that much on them now. It really depends on like what dunk you get, like what shoe you get, and you know how much it costs, where you get it from. So basically that. So and even like with shoes, jewelry, or like maybe a car, which that depends. Like getting a car, like redoing your room, like anything and everything, or sometimes really a new phone, new laptop. If you don't need it now, and like what you have been working with still works. If you don't need to change it right now, don't change it. But if you feel like you still want to change it, like take it day by day, step by step. You don't have to get it now because you want it now. Doesn't mean that you need it now, because needs go over wants. So it's always important to think about. So we're about to end the episode soon. So this is the advice part of the episode. Okay, let's go to the 3 things that I've written down that I want to discuss. So the 3 things are: how have I improved, what would I change, and the advice I would give. So let's go into how have I improved. So I feel like I've improved with, what I've brought into my environment and what I represent and how like I present myself. Really feel like that is the most important part that I've, changed and like improved on, and the effect that I have on people, because whatever you bring to the table can really, change your life. So I feel like that's a majority of what I've improved on. And just learning as I go, and learning to take it day by day, step by step, and not always want to know everything that's going to happen or know everything that I'm going to do, because something can surprise you, so you never know. So the second thing is, what would I change? I feel like giving the people the time of the day that don't deserve it. I have I've experienced what I experienced, but I've experienced a lot, especially like with friendships in general. Like sometimes like the people like that bring the bad energy and the bad vibes is not who you need to be hanging around or letting into your space, into your friend group, into your life, and especially not, letting them know everything. Because that is what can have you in a jiffy. Telling everybody all your business and the things that you want to do, like that's not always good. Whether it's friends, family, you have to watch who you share anything and everything with. It doesn't mean that you should go around like not trusting everybody. It really depends on if you want to give that trust and let them earn it, and let them decrease it if they do things, to decrease that for you. Or you can just like let them like, earn your trust, which I believe in both. And do different like relationships. It depends on like where we start, and like what vibes I guess I could get from you. So that's another thing. And especially with friends, like in the past, like I've gone to their birthday parties, given them gifts, Christmas gifts, Valentine's Day gifts. Like if we are all single, like I would give them stuff like that, and me not getting that in exchange. And the thing is, like I wasn't expecting anything in return, but you not giving the same energy that I am giving to you kind of like hit me different. Especially like when like what you did, but you're trying to gaslight me into thinking that like you told me, or like that we were on the same page about something, like we like believe like we were in the same like line of friendship and had like the same respect for each other. That's just something not that I try not to give too much into people, especially like if I see that they're not giving that to me. Like it's just who I am, like giving gifts to people and just like, being me and like wanting to share things with people or, go to birthday parties, even if they're not going to mine or giving me gifts. Because I don't expect that out of nobody, but I've kind of died down on I don't expect anything out of anybody because you never know. They could switch up on you in a minute. And I try not to put expectations on people because it's just giving too much energy into like it kind of like dies down sometimes. Like with energy and the vibes people may give you. So that's always something that I've learned from with any situation that I've gone through. So the next thing is the advice I would give. And I have literally shared this information like with my parents, like my friends, like people like I went to high school with, people who are younger than me getting into high school maybe, or like just anybody that I talked to about high school. So the thing about high school is if you don't know, like what a dual credit class is, then like if you don't like if it's not called the same thing, but basically what a dual credit class is like it's college credit that you get in high school. Like some high schools like have like a little community college like you can get credits from, which that's usually how it works. Sometimes it could work differently depending on what state you're in. Like you may be in the same state at a different part, excuse me, of that state that you're in. So it is essential at the beginning of your high school career to enroll in as many dual credit classes as you can, or college credit classes that you're in, because you at the end of high school you can be with an associate's degree. And even if you plan on going to college or not, it's always good to have some type of a college course or credit or whatever to have in your back pocket. Because you might not want to go to college, but look, you earned your high school degree. Well, I'm sorry, you earned your high school diploma and you earned your associate's degree. So you already had that in your back pocket. So whether you want to go to college or not, look, you already had that. You got a deal with two in one. So two in one experience. So I feel like that's the most important thing is to do that at the beginning of your high school career. Whether you know what you want to do or not. And to add to that, it is important to start, especially whether you kind of know like what you like, find out what your passions are, like what you're interested in and try to research and figure out like what career that would be. Like even if you need to take a career quiz, because usually some classes have you do that. So just taking those quizzes can help you figure out, like especially like when you're getting into taking the SAT, the ACT classes to kind of see like where you're at in a college level. Your sophomore year, like the like middle end of your sophomore year, you should be figuring out something or at least have an idea of what you want to do, because that gets into you picking your college, like who has the best degree that you want to get into, seeing who has the best program for that degree you want to get, or what type of degree you want to get, whether you want to get your associate's degree, a bachelor's degree. I can go into that a lot because, especially going into taking high school seriously, going from like high school into college, you look back on high school and see that like some people take it seriously from the get-go and take school seriously, but don't be too laid back into, obviously enjoy high school, but don't be too laid back into being in that high school scene, because being in the high school scene is good and all, but at the same time, you're not going to be in that high school scene for forever. So enjoy high school, do what you have to do, but take your grades and classes seriously, because that it will all go into you getting into college, and you know having maybe a certain GPA if you already did your associate's degree, and now like once you get out of high school you have your associates, and if you wanted to continue that degree, maybe like getting a bachelor's, a master's, and maybe doing another associate's degree with any program that you want to do in any community college, university, whatever you want to do. So I think, to be honest, we can go ahead and wrap up. I feel like it's definitely been an episode, and to be honest, it's longer than I thought it was going to be, but I'm glad, longer than I thought it was going to be, but I'm glad that I shared like experiences, advice, my opinions on different things. So, this is how things are going to end, and I enjoyed, having a good conversation with y'all on What's Next Conversations, with me, your host, Shelby Williams. And don't forget to subscribe, review, comment on my Instagram, my socials, or on YouTube. And, go ahead and do that. And I appreciate you, and I hope that you have taken something out of this. If anything, enjoy life, but also, have things a little bit planned out, and have some type of goal that you want to achieve and certain life you want to live, and learn from any and every experience that you have, and learn from any advice people give you. Like whether you learn from my advice or from family, friends, whoever, take that advice into consideration and enter that into however your life is right now. Enter that into how you live, because it's the most important thing you can do. And to be honest, I've regretted some things, and you might regret not taking advice and at least having that in your back pocket. So, thank you, and y'all have a good one, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.